Hello Redditors, welcome back to Tales Against Humanity. Now, let's get started. In today's episode,
the issues I've never told my friends about. Well, where do I begin? I, 26F, grew up with an absent father who I no longer try to even have a relationship with. The real issues I'm currently having and have been having are with my mother, 44F. She had me at 18 years old, so I understand she was still figuring things out when I was growing up. What I didn't realize until I first became a young adult is that she's done a lot of questionable things to me as a parent. I didn't quite realize that parents aren't supposed to do these things until I talked about everything with my current partner of 4 years, 26M. I want to state that most of what I will be talking about are financial situations, and I am basically just ranting because I don't feel comfortable telling my friends any of this. Any helpful advice would also be greatly appreciated. My mother not so subtly hints at wanting me to buy her a house or a car. She also makes comments about how I am broke all the time. When I started college, I started to get an off feeling about decisions my mother was making for me. I went to a university out of my home state my freshman year, and while I was away my mother signed me up for 2 credit cards. One CC company actually sent 2 of the same type of card with different numbers, that she then kept 1 for herself, so technically I ended up with 3 cards at the age of 18. She presented them to me during winter break, and the summer after my freshman year signed me up for another. By the age of 19, I had 4 credit cards in my name. Being so young, I had no idea what it meant to have credit cards. For the next 2 years my mother would accept larger student loans to get a reimbursement to pay off 1-2 of the cards. When I turned 21, I made some bad financial decisions and maxed out one of the cards. I moved into my first apartment with my current partner at 22 and was obviously struggling financially. I was working a part-time internship and going to school full-time. I live in California, so the cost of living is extremely high. I was barely making enough money to cover rent, food, and the minimum credit card payments. About 6 months to 1 year before this, my mother put my grandmother, me, and herself on a 2-year lease for a house for her and my grandmother to live in. The rental is also in California. I was fine with being on the lease until a few months in when she let her boyfriend, 44M, install a wee room into the bedroom I was told would be mine for when I visit. I never agreed to this room, especially since it is illegal. I have asked multiple times to be taken off the lease, but my mother and grandmother won't qualify for the rental if I am not on it. Jump to my college graduation at 23 years old, and I decide to move somewhere else, and am still struggling with all of my bills. Still at 4 credit cards, right? Nope. My mother has signed up for 2 credit cards under my name and made herself an authorized user on them before even asking me for permission. Long story short, I had to move into the rental house because of the pandemic. The weed room is still here, but hasn't been used in 2 years. My mother says it will cost around $5K to get it taken down, and I see no strides being made for that to actually happen. When I first moved back here in 2020, I had to sleep on the sofa for about 6 months and wasn't able to buy a bed until I got the stimulus. I had a pretty shit time with finding a well-paying job. From 2020-2021, I got completely screwed over by a large tech company. A completely different story that I won't go into, and fell into a depressive state for most of 2021 due to feeling like a complete failure. I was able to find a retail job November 2021, but got laid off because the company I worked for decided to close the store this past month, May 2022. I am currently paying off 4 out of the 6 credit cards and a student loan. My mother is paying for the 2 she signed up for behind my back. I also just recently got access to these cards' online accounts, and they are either maxed out or over limit. I am sleeping on a mattress in the family room since the weed room isn't being taken down. I don't currently pay rent, which is the only real plus with staying here. I have a lot of resentment towards my mother now since I feel like she has screwed me over financially. It's impossible to talk to her since she is emotionally unavailable to any criticism. She has made remarks about me being lazy my whole life, and every time I try to tell her how certain things she does has hurt me, she starts to play the victim and makes me feel bad, as though I'm ungrateful when all I've ever wanted to do was graduate, find a good paying job, and help out her and my grandmother. I am at a lose on what to do or how to feel. This is obviously a small portion of my story, and I don't want to make this already long post longer. If you made it all the way to the end, then I am thankful. And sorry, since my storytelling isn't great. This is my first time ever posting anything like this, and my brain is a jumbled mess. Story 2. I'm sick of feeling like a piece of shit to my mom. How do I 21F? Finally establish boundaries. Got off the phone with my mom, who was sobbing and saying, "You don't respect me. You never do." Left me sobbing and saying, "I don't feel respected either. We just have different values and views on life." I 21F. Do respect her. Some context, she's an Asian immigrant. I have worked so hard to do everything that appeases her. Simultaneously, a lot of the things are also done for myself. Straight A's since freshman year of high school. In college as a rising senior, I've always juggled a job and extracurriculars since high school. I'm a clean freak. I have so many random life skills, and I'm the mom/goody two-shoes of every friend group. I even go to a great university in the US. All my friends' parents love me except for my own mother. My mom is super traditional when it comes to dating. She also tries to be controlling and moralistic about relationships. I feel so bad for whoever I end up marrying because they're going to have a nightmare MIL. Anyways, relationships and sexuality are topics that cause my mom and I to fight. This summer, I am going on a vacation with my boyfriend, and I have spent a month building up the courage to finally tell her. I live quite the drive from home, so I called her to tell her about it. Went exactly as I thought, meaning it did not go well. She basically started slut-shaming me because she thinks it's scandalous for a young woman to travel with a man she's not married to. I'm in the US and just flying to a different state with him. At the same time, it doesn't matter who I travel with or where I go, she would never approve. My friends are already brainstorming a senior year spring break trip to Mexico, and they want me to come. First thing that popped up in my head was, my mom wouldn't like that. I just hate having that fear. If I could go on the trip without telling her, I wouldn't have mentioned it. But this woman FaceTimes me every day to see what I'm up to. She'll even FaceTime me in the morning on the weekends to make sure I didn't sleep over at my boyfriend's house. There's no sneaking around, even when I'm hundreds of miles away. My mom thinks that everyone is going to judge our family for me going on this trip. But I have no idea who everyone even is. She basically has no friends, no social circles/communities, she hates talking to her family, and we barely talk to our neighbors. I'm just seeking solidarity or advice on how to establish boundaries, get on good terms, and still go on this trip. I've been trying to find a therapist, but everyone in my area is either not in network or not accepting new clients. I'm also financially independent. The only thing my parents can hold over my head is my health/dental insurance. Editing to make a quick note. This post got more attention than I thought. Thank you for your advice and support. I'll have to read through all the comments when I get off work.